Welcome to We the People, a new birth of freedom. Thanks for stopping by. And I ask you to excuse the backdrop. I'm building a shed, little log cabin shed. So excuse what you see in the background. Just want to make this video real quick because I was thinking about some comments I made on the last video. And first I want to apologize for using the expression, it's a coarse expression, bullshit. I really want to apologize for that because the things that I'm talking about in the context of socialism, postmodernism, Marxism, however you want to label it, it really doesn't qualify for bullshit. You know, I've been out in the pastures many times and bullshit, cow shit, really doesn't smell that bad. So I started thinking about that and the things that I'm discussing really is more like pig shit. Now that stinks. A pig pen stinks. And these alleged American elected officials who are really wolves in sheep's clothing, they're really socialists, communists, Nazis, anti-Americans that like to be identified with the American ideology. They live in pig shit. They talk pig shit. They smell like pig shit. Now, we welcome them to lay aside their socialism, their communism, their anti-American ideologies, and be true Americans. But I doubt if they'll do that because, well, they're just not real Americans. They're hypocrites. They're posers. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. But I was thinking about some of my comments on the last video, and I want to just hit a few of those things real quickly. I mentioned that Obama talked about how our Constitution is flawed, and yet that flawed Constitution put him in as the President of the United States. That's astounding, isn't it? But I understand what he was talking about because he went on to talk about his socialism propaganda, where community, government entity, some organization controls the production, exchange, and distribution of goods. And really it wipes out individual sovereignty, individual liberty, individual choices. The community or the government or some organization is going to make the decision for you. That's not liberty. That's not freedom. That's pig shit. And I'm not saying that. I'm not using that expression just flippantly. I'm not saying it, just to try to come across as using a cuss word, because to me that's not a cuss word. It's a very coarse expression and description of something that stinks really bad. Pig shit. And then we have retired Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens, who made a comment in recent months he was talking about just repealing the Second Amendment according to Article 5 of the Constitution. This is an appointed Supreme Court judge talking about repealing the Second Amendment according to his interpretation of Article 5 of the Constitution. Now we're going to get into that in depth a little bit later on, but Article 5 of the Constitution does not give Congress or any elected official the authority to repeal any of the 10 amendments in the Bill of Rights. The language in those Bill of Rights forbid it. Congress, the Supreme Court, President, those three branches of power of our government do not have jurisdiction when it comes to repealing, altering, changing, reinventing, reframing, rewording the Bill of Rights. Those are engraved in the laws of nature, nature's God. Oh, you can try it, but you're going to have a problem on your hands that you've never, ever imagined. Nevertheless, this is the stuff that we're having to deal with. It's antithetical to the very principles and morality of what America was founded upon. And then we've got Obama on his mission to clone 1 million Obamas. I have to chuckle every time I think of that or every time I say that because it's so damnable. It's so obnoxious it's so narcissistic. It's so, well, pig shit again. But like I said, we'll get into these things a little bit later. But I just wanted to make this comment again and kind of emphasize some of these things that we're going to delve into a little bit later. And I challenge him. I challenge former President Obama. I will meet him any place, anytime on the international stage or the national stage, and I will debate his socialistic concepts. Because it has no place here in a free America. It has no place on American soil. He can take his pig shit and go to some other pig pen that might accept that and might tolerate that. I have no tolerance for socialism. I have no tolerance for Nazism. If you want to look at the word socialism, the way I would define that is I am socialistic in the the context of everyone in society should have equal opportunity to experience life, liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness according to our founding documents, not according to some politician's twisted, demented interpretation. These men are incompetent. They're dangerous to liberty and justice. They're enemies of American liberty. They're enemies of American independence. But that is my belief in some kind of a socialistic concept, that everyone has equal opportunity to that, and that's what our founding fathers meant when they wrote that. All men are created equal. These are truths. That everyone has equal access to life, liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, not all have the same capacity to experience that, but everyone has the freedom to experience liberty in the capacity that they can. So I just wanted to touch on those things, and as I said, we're going to get into it far, far deeper than we are right now. I want you to understand that the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights was written with such genius and such vision that if ever there was a time that we understood what those documents were telling us, it's now. Because everything in those documents are being challenged now on a level that's never been challenged before. Let me repeat that. Our founding fathers were so visionary and so genius that the words that they penned have come to full fruition now. If ever we need to understand the content and the context of life, liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness, it's now, because it is being challenged on a level that's never been before. Until next time, be an American.